to get back in session. The Honorable Russell Henry. You may be seated.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We have a question or two, and I understand there might have been some miscommunication. Is everybody outside there who has access or wants to have access to the courtroom in here? Is there anybody outside that wants to be in here that has not been brought in? All right, the first question is, are we able to take a 30-minute break?
Of course.
Obviously, the answer to that is yes.
Yes, Judge.
Then there is a second question, and it is, well, I'm wondering if it might be advantageous to give them the break, answer the first question and give them the break. I guess they'd still have the second question pending. The second question is this: is it possible to not reach a verdict on one count and reach a verdict on other counts? The answer to that is yes. So I can, if you want, bring the jurors on out, answer both of their questions yes, and tell them they can take a 30-minute break. Quite frankly, I thought they were going to, I had heard they wanted to do that earlier. I thought they were going to do it. By the time they take the 30-minute break, their dinner's going to be here, because we've arranged to have dinner brought to them this evening. So I'll give them the 30-minute break, but it may turn into a 30-minute break and then a dinner break. But I'm gathering, it seems as though they, well, that's what we'll do, unless somebody has an objection.
No, sir, there's no objection about the break. I just didn't know if the instruction would be reread to them, or if you're just going to tell them yes. And we're happy either way the court chooses to do it.
What instruction?
Just about each verdict, the separate verdict.
No, I was going to answer the question yes.
I think that's sufficient, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Strolla?
Same, Your Honor.
Mr. Dunn, haven't seen you today. Stand and raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Are you okay with me giving those answers?
I'm not sure I understand what the question was.
Okay. Obviously, the first question is, can they have a 30-minute break?
That one,
Pretty clear on that one. You're okay with me saying yes to that?
of course.
The second question is it possible to not reach a verdict on one count and reach a verdict on other counts? Basically, what they're saying there is you've got 5 counts. Could they reach a verdict on, I'm just making numbers up, on 3, but be unable to reach a verdict on 2 or 4 and 1? And the law allows that. Basically, what can happen is a verdict can be rendered, and let's just use let's just make it 4 and 1. They render a verdict on 4 counts, but they are not able to render a verdict on the other count, whatever one it is, we don't know. Just so everybody knows, what would happen is, if they ultimately said they were deadlocked on that one count, that they had reached a verdict on 4, and they were deadlocked on 1, and they could not break a deadlock, and there's some procedures that we have to go through to get to that point, to where we then say, okay, that's it, it's over. They then come into the courtroom, we would publish the verdict as to the 4 counts that they were able to reach a decision on, and a mistrial would be declared on the count that they did not reach a verdict on, and the state is then free to retry whatever count that is in their discretion. That's basically the law, my understanding of the law, and I see nodding heads, at least from Ms. Corey. Do you think there's anything different than what I've said about that?
I do not, Your Honor.
Mr. Strolla?
No, Your Honor.
Does that help to explain it to you,
Yes,
Mr. Dunn?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, and I'm not going to go into that kind of an explanation with the jury. I'm just going to let them know that, yes, they can reach a verdict on one count, or this says not reach a verdict on one count and reach a verdict on the other count. So it sounds like my example of 4 and 1, sounds like they might be able to, or perhaps they even have, reached a verdict on 4 counts, but they're struggling with whatever one is left. But the answer to the question is yes. So I'll bring them in, tell them yes to both, and let them also have their break. Not now.
No. Dinner's gonna be here between 5:30 and 5:45.
You're in the courtroom.
You can sit anywhere, or sit and position yourself anywhere. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Wait, I have both of your questions. And the first one is, are you able to take a 30-minute break? The answer to that is yes. If you want to take that break, actually, I thought you were going to take it earlier today, maybe, but yes, you can. If you want to take it right now, you can. My understanding is that dinner is going to be here between 5:30 and 5:45. So if you just want to take the 30-minute break and make it an elongated dinner, that's fine as well. That's your choice. The second question, is it possible to not reach a verdict on one count and reach a verdict on the other counts? The answer to that question is yes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and if you want to take your break, the bailiffs will help you do that now. All right, y'all can have a seat, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that's it for now. I want to clarify, because something came to my attention a little earlier. This courtroom is not closed. It has never been closed. So if for some reason somebody tells you and you have an armband or there's room in here for someone and you can't get in here, you need to either let me know it or you need to let the chief judge know it, because then there's been a miscommunication as to what's going on and how the security is being conducted. So if that happens, you need to let somebody know, and we'll take care of it. This courtroom has never been closed, nor will it be closed. And maybe it's just a rumor that I heard. Someone was fearful that the courtroom would be closed when the verdict was rendered. That will absolutely not happen ever. It has never happened that I know of in this circuit, and it would never happen. So rest assured, when we get a verdict, and I'll tell you right now how that's going to work, so you'll be prepared. When we get a verdict, my intention is to give at least 30 minutes, perhaps 45, to allow whoever has their armbands and whoever has access to the courtroom to get into the courtroom. Believe it or not, at least one, maybe a couple of the alternate jurors want to be here for the verdict, and so I need to have them transported here, because I indicated that they could be, since they spent so much time on the case. So there may be some time to transport them from where they're staying to here to make sure they can be here for the verdict as well. So please rest assured, there'll be plenty of access and coverage, I'm sure, when the verdict, if it comes in and when it comes in. And if it comes this evening, we'll stay today as long as the jurors would like. If they get tired, I'll send them back to the hotel and we will resume tomorrow. I have even, again, sometimes I overthink these things, but I have begun doing research on whether or not we can stay here till Sunday and whether you can deliberate a verdict on Sunday. And it would look to me, although it is Sunday, and we took a break from the trial on Sunday for several reasons. One, I don't know that, I think everybody needed a break. And then typically, not a lot of work takes place on Sunday. And there are some rules that say that certain things in the law cannot be done on a Sunday, but it would appear to me that jury deliberations can be conducted on a Sunday if it were to go that far. That might be subject to argument from the attorneys, but hopefully we're not going to get to that point. Sounds like they're close, and so we'll just hope for the best and be in recess until we hear more from the jurors. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Sidebar before that, Mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.